In the last chapter, we saw our protagonist confidently stepping into a stunning $300 million villa, inspecting every corner with his usual charisma. And I know many of you have been eagerly waiting for the next part of this series, and I want to sincerely apologize for the delay. I've been tied up with other commitments during this period, but I promise that the next part of this series will be uploaded on time without any delays. Thank you for your patience and support. So without further delay, let's start. 3 months later, today was the founding day of Xingwang's company. Standing proudly before everyone in the company, Xingwang declared, "After 3 months of preparation, our Dujun media company is finally opening. We sincerely thank Director Gao for her hard work in training everyone over the past 3 months. Everyone must do their best to repay her efforts. We won't let you down." The room was filled with cheers and excitement, and Xingwang shared a knowing smile with Gaowen, both of them reflecting on how far they had come. They thought back to 3 months ago when Gaowen had asked, still a bit confused, "I have to live stream and train new talent?" Xingwang had responded calmly, "Half of the commission from new live streamers goes to you." Gaowen had been shocked. "Isn't that too much?" But Xingwang smiled and replied, "You're the founding hero of Dujun. Besides, every profession has its expertise. You're familiar with the live streaming process, account operations, and how to attract viewers. I can't do it alone. Of course, once the company is running smoothly, you can switch to the front lines if you want." Gaowen nodded firmly. "I want to stay behind the scenes," she said, filled with determination. Meanwhile, over at Boss He's office, a different vibe dominated the air. He stared at his phone, muttering disdainfully, "Dujun Media, signing live streamers like it's going out of style. What era is this? Someone starting from scratch wants to open a live streaming company? Right across from me? Are they provoking me?" Before he could act further, Anne walked in with a cheerful greeting. "Cousin, you're back from your trip. Is sister-in-law well?" Boss He's demeanor shifted instantly, his previous arrogance dissolving into sycophantic politeness. "Anne, good timing. I was just strategizing how to deal with this Dujun media. The old rules, of course, teach them a lesson. Let them know who's boss in the live streaming industry." At the same time, back at Dujun Media, Xingwang was in his office, frustrated with a stack of designs. "These designers are all style over substance," he muttered. "My 300 million yuan villa must be magnificent and creative." A knock at the door pulled him from his thoughts. Gao Wen entered, her phone clutched tightly in her hand, and her voice filled with urgency. "Our anchors received PK invitations from MioQN," she said. "They all have at least 1 million fans, and they're all targeting anchors in the same field." She thrust her phone forward. "Look at this. Mini Coco from MioQN sent me a PK invitation. 1 million fans versus me? Isn't this just targeting us?" Other employees chimed in nervously. "Boss, I got one too. If we lose, we have to add the MioQN prefix to our names. Isn't this their old trick? 1 million fans bullying anchors with only tens of thousands. How shameless." Hearing this, Xingwang leaned back in his chair, a calm but confident smile on his face. "They're making a big fuss," he said, "targeting our company's main live streamers while baiting the smaller ones for PK, just to rile up their fans. Let them try. They think they're intimidating us, but this is just the beginning. We'll show them exactly what Dujun Media is capable of. They're telling the new live streaming companies that they're the top dogs in this industry. What a cunning tactic. But it's a pity they've picked the wrong opponent this time." Xingwang stood up with a confident grin. "Isn't PK about revenue from gifts? Tell our live streamers to accept the PK." Gao Wen blinked, surprised by his boldness. "Wait, aren't you going to pay out of pocket to send rockets to the new live streamers?" she asked hesitantly. Xingwang paused, suddenly realizing how extravagant his plan sounded. He softened his tone, scratching his head. "Did I seem a bit over the top just now?" Gao Wen couldn't help but recall the PK at the bar, and something clicked in her mind. "Big brother, could it be?" Xingwang," she muttered to herself. Xingwang raised a finger, cutting off her train of thought. "Gao Wen, don't worry," he said firmly. "I'll help you. Big brother will handle this. Money is only money when it's spent. Keeping it in your hands is just a number." Gao Wen hesitated, her practical side surfacing. "But we should still be frugal," she countered. After all, more than half of the money goes to channel fees and platform commissions. Her thoughts spiraled. He paid tens of millions in termination fees for me. And if I'm not mistaken, he also sent me tens of millions worth of rockets before. Still, Xingwang radiated confidence. You can't think like that. Life is short, why save? Besides, I'm not spending recklessly, I'm investing. Right now, I'm lacking popularity, and guess what? It's come knocking on my door. This is our chance. If we seize it, our company's reputation will spread like wildfire across the industry. He leaned in, his tone calm but persuasive. A live streamer with 1 million fans is enough to spark curiosity. Viewers will come to see what we're made of. And that's where you come in, your ability to train newcomers and create content. Once they're here, it's our job to keep them. If we do that, we win. Don't worry, I know my limits. I'll help you earn a stable income. Hearing his words, Gao Wen's expression shifted. Determination filled her eyes as she thought, he's right. His vision is leagues ahead of mine. He spent hundreds of millions already. What's a few more tens of millions? Plus, he worked in operations and marketing at Tycoon. I can't compete with that expertise. If he trusts me, I should trust him too. Later, in Dujun's live streaming room, the atmosphere was tense. Sister Gao, what should we do? If we accept the PK, we'll definitely lose, one of the streamers said nervously. Gao Wen took a deep breath and straightened her back. Accept the invitation, she said resolutely. Meanwhile, in Mao Kun's office, a notification popped up on the screen. The PK battle between Mao Kun and Dujun had begun. As the battle unfolded, the Mao Kun streamer was already grinning from ear to ear, thanking a cascade of extravagant gifts. Thanks to Shababar for the Meow Group rocket. Thanks to Akao for the private plane. Shout out to Liudu for the moon on the sea. And Xiao PQ, thank you for the 10 planes. Thanks. Thank you all so much, the Mao Kun streamer said smugly, basking in the flood of gifts rolling in. Meanwhile, Xingwang's phone buzzed with messages from the group chat. Have you heard? Dujun Media and Myokun Media are going head-to-head. Dujun Media is just throwing pebbles at a boulder. They're just copying Maukun's style. No originality at all. Clowns, every one of them. The comments on Dujun's stream are brutal. Fans are pouring in just to roast them. Let's see how Maukun's boss crushes these wannabes. Boss, come out and discipline these clowns already. Xingwang gently set down his phone, his face calm, utterly unbothered. While the noise buzzed around him, his thoughts wandered to something entirely different. Should he go for a whole set of rosewood furniture, or perhaps a French vintage style? Now that was a real dilemma. His musings were interrupted as Gao Wen entered the office, her expression a mix of frustration and urgency. The votes are getting crushed in the PK, she reported. They came prepared, boss. Their big spenders are focusing all their firepower on voting today. On our side, everything's set. The accounts are ready, and the money's been loaded. When should we make our move? Xingwang smiled, a calm confidence in his demeanor, and waved his hand dismissively. No rush. The time isn't right yet. Let them rest, gather their strength. When their popularity peaks, and when the mockery is at its loudest, that's when we'll strike. Gao Wen nodded sheepishly. Right. I was too hasty. However, Xingwang continued, the streamers' mental states are crucial. Make sure they stay comfortable and confident. Tell them to perform their best no matter what. Win or lose, as long as they give it their all, they'll be rewarded. Meanwhile, at Myokun, boss, he was already celebrating. Cousin, victory is ours tonight. Let's start the party early, he said with a smug grin. Inwardly, he gloated. So what if we lost Gao Wen? We still raked in tens of millions in revenue. But his cousin wasn't impressed. What's there to celebrate about beating a small company? That's expected, he said coldly, making Boss He's smile falter. A pang of regret hit Boss He. He had secured a hefty termination fee when Gao Wen left, sure, but losing her talent felt like letting a big fish slip through his fingers. His mind wandered back to that moment. Wait. Someone paid tens of millions in termination fees for her to leave my platform. And now she's running her own company? His eyes narrowed as he stared at his phone. This feels too calculated. Could this have been a premeditated plan all along? His cousin noticed the change in his expression. What's wrong? Why did Gao Wen end up at Dujun? Boss, he stammered, scrambling for words. His mind raced. He couldn't let his cousin see him as incompetent. He quickly cobbled together an excuse, but the unease gnawed at him. Somewhere deep down, he knew this wasn't over. And Xingwang? He was just getting started. Boss, he, desperate to maintain his dignity, spun a tale. Gao Wen used to cozy up to a nouveau riche, sweet-talking him into opening his wallet. That's probably how she terminated her contract. She must have walked away with tens of millions and got arrogant, thinking she could climb the ladder and become a boss. His cousin considered the explanation, nodded, and let it drop. All right, just make sure you control the situation. We must win today. At that moment, an employee barged in, panic written all over their face. Boss, he. It's bad. Dujun's live stream rooms are getting flooded with rockets and yachts. Boss, he's face went pale, but his assistant, trembling with fear, blurted out, "It's not just one round of gifts. They're sending waves of them. Rockets are flooding the screen." The two of them turned to the monitors, dumbfounded, as notifications exploded across the screen. His cousin erupted. "One round? Boss, he crushed them now." Meanwhile, in Xingwang's office, Gao Wen stood frozen, watching the chaos unfold. Every few seconds, Xingwang calmly tapped his phone, triggering the system to broadcast extravagant gift announcements. Congratulations to the host for spending money so lavishly. Reward million. Congratulations to the host for freely giving gifts. Reward 888,888. The stream was a spectacle. Gift after gift, rocket after rocket. The notifications came so fast that the system could barely keep up. Finally, Gao Wen couldn't hold back. Isn't it enough to just win? Why send so many gifts? Their PK bars are obliterated. And seriously, 500 rockets at a time? This isn't just rich. This is insane. Xingwang smirked, unfazed. He tapped his phone one last time. Seeing injustice on the road, I help. Xingwang sends 5,000 rockets. He leaned back, chuckling. They haven't seen the world yet. Let's show them what it means to dream big. Gao Wen stared at the screen, utterly speechless. This isn't seeing the world. This is rewriting the rules. Xingwang's grin widened. Remember our goal. We're not here to blend in. We're here to be the top, insurmountable by anyone. Go boost morale and remind Maokun's streamers to change their names while you're at it. Gao Wen snapped back to reality, nodded, and left to carry out his orders. As the storm settled, Xingwang casually picked up his tablet. His eyes lit up. Finally, a design I like. This is my dream house. Forget rosewood or French vintage. This style is perfect. He glanced at his phone, smirking. Now, let's see how much money I made this time. 100 million. 1 billion? Ha! As expected of the system, the more I spend, the more I earn. In the offices of major media companies, chaos erupted. Executives barked orders. In 1 minute, I want everything on Dujun Media. Who's backing them? How are they moving so fast? We need to monitor this company closely. Across the industry, everyone was in shock. Dujun Media's meteoric rise had shaken the live streaming world to its core. The media frenzy was palpable. We need first-hand information. Get interviews with Dujun Media immediately, barked an editor-in-chief. I've already got the headline, shaking the tree, the changing of the guard between old and new companies. Let's run with it. Meanwhile, on the live streaming platform, the management scrambled. An emergency meeting was underway. In one night, they've created a miracle, said the platform director, pacing the room. Their streamers' average fan growth is over 2 million. This is the biggest breakthrough since we launched. Contact this company immediately. I want to negotiate with them personally. At Dujun Media, the broadcast of For Beautiful Streamers was wrapping up. The girls' sweet voices filled the air. That's all for tonight, everyone. Thank you for your gifts and your love. Thanks to you, even a small streamer like me can feel supported. Once the equipment was disconnected, the girls collapsed into their chairs, sighing with relief. It's finally over, one of them said, wiping her brow. Just then, the door opened, and Xingwang walked in. The atmosphere shifted instantly as the four girls surrounded him, their excitement bubbling over. "Boss, we actually won. I was so scared at first, but we did it." Xingwang, ever magnanimous, smiled and waved his hand. "All of today's revenue will be distributed according to the contract." The room erupted in cheers. "Wow, boss, you're so generous. How much is that? Am I really about to experience being rich overnight?" At that moment, Xingwang's phone pinged with a notification from the system. "The host is generous, sharing the wealth. I'm so moved I'm crying. Reward 500 million. He couldn't help but mutter. This system's rewards are so random. It's enough to give anyone a heart attack. Gao Wen, who had been standing at the door, smiled warmly as she watched the scene. The laughter, the excitement, it was infectious. In stark contrast, over at Myokun Media, the mood was icy. Boss, he and his cousin glared at the statistics screen, their faces twisted in anger. Online, the comments were relentless. Myokun Media spent a fortune, but they still lost. What happened? Why is Dujun Media so much better? His cousin's expression darkened with each comment. Suddenly, an assistant timidly entered. Boss, do we need to change our names? Dujun Media released clips mocking us and, demanding it. The words hit like a thunderclap. His cousin shot up from his seat, his face murderous. The assistant flinched and fled, slamming the door behind them. Without warning, his cousin turned and slapped Boss He across the face. This is just one round, you said. A nouveau riche wouldn't give her much money, you said. He pointed at the screen, his voice rising. 500 million. Do you call this not much money? Boss He stood there, trembling, knowing there was no escape from his cousin's wrath. The tension at Myokun Media was suffocating. His cousin's voice was venomous as he hissed, 500 million. If it weren't for you, would Myokun Media be a laughingstock right now? They've trampled our dignity into the ground. Bossy, sprawled on the floor, tried to defend himself. But we made money, we didn't lose. The room fell silent for a moment before his cousin's expression turned even darker. His voice was icy. Try saying that again. The phone slipped from Bossy's trembling hands, its screen still playing clips from the disastrous PK battle. His cousin returned to his desk, muttering bitterly, if Gao Wen were still here, at least 100 million of that 500 million would have been ours. That sugar daddy? He clearly likes Gao Wen. You should have created opportunities for her. That money would have flowed straight into our company. Bossy, clutching his swollen face, struggled to his feet. But he was a poor man before. His cousin's fury erupted. Don't look down on a young man in poverty. Are your dog eyes blind? Not recognizing a wealthy and noble person when you see one? He slammed his fist on the desk. I heard that when Gao Wen was here, you made her life miserable. You treated a money tree like garbage. No wonder she was forced to leave. Bossy muttered weakly, didn't you implicitly agree? The words were barely out before his cousin's kick sent him flying. Get out of my sight. Daytime at Dujun Media. Gao Wen gently tugged at Xingwang's shirt, her voice soft. Is it really okay to spend money like this? I did some rough math. Out of 500 million, we'll get over 180 million after deductions, but we still have to distribute tens of millions to the live streamers. Xingwang smiled, calm as ever. Actually, it didn't cost that much. His nonchalance left Gao Wen stunned. Not that much? You just spent 200 million in one night. Xingwang chuckled, shaking his head. I only deposited 100 million. The rest came from the surge in popularity, new users depositing money like crazy. Plus, the platform matched my deposit with another 100 million in gifts. We'll use those gifts strategically later. When you round it up, we really only spent 100 million. Gao Wen was speechless. Rounding it up? Is that how you calculate now? She couldn't believe it. Xingwang was casually brushing off what most would consider an astronomical sum. He turned to her with a confident grin. It's called spend one, get 10,000 back. You've seen the media evaluations, haven't you? Other companies spend years and millions nurturing a single top live streamer. In one night, we've created over a dozen top-tier streamers. Time and expenses are money too, aren't they? This leap has saved us years of effort. His tone softened. Gao Wen, I told you, your future will be bright. Thank you for leading the new live streamers and helping them seize this opportunity. You've done amazing work. She blushed, unsure how to respond as he continued. Have you ever heard the saying, popularity nurtures a person? When someone is in the spotlight, people naturally focus on their merits, and they get positive feedback. That momentum will make our path smoother, and this is just the beginning. I'll invest in variety shows, movies, and more. These newcomers will need opportunities to shine. We're building an empire, Gao Wen. For a moment, she stood there, looking at him with admiration. This wasn't just a rich man throwing money around. This was a visionary shaping the future of an industry. Xingwang's enthusiasm filled the room as he declared, Dujun Media won't just be a live streaming company. We'll branch out into every corner of entertainment and innovation. Variety shows, movies, original content, you name it. We'll be the standard bearer for this industry. His fist clenched, determination blazing in his eyes as he painted a picture of their limitless future. In the middle of his impassioned speech, his phone buzzed. Answering it, he listened briefly before nodding. Yes, this is Mr. Hang. Oh, you're from the decoration company? Great. After a short exchange, he hung up and turned to Gao Wen, patting her shoulder with a smile. Gao Wen, I'll leave this to you. The decoration company just contacted me. I need to oversee the renovation of the new house. The bonus distribution is in your hands. Don't be stingy, and don't forget to include your own share. She blinked in surprise, unsure how to respond. Xingwang grinned. Remember what I told you? The percentage commission for leading the newcomers, it's all yours. Everyone should feel motivated to work harder and happier to earn more. That's my philosophy. His casual yet earnest words left Gao Wen momentarily speechless. She hesitated, unsure if she should accept such generosity. Before she could refuse, Xingwang added with a knowing look, I'm not interested in shady tactics. Everyone should get what they've earned. That's how we'll build loyalty and trust. Hearing his reasoning, Gao Wen couldn't help but smile. She nodded, her hesitation fading. Okay, I understand. As she watched him stride confidently out of the room, her admiration for him deepened. It wasn't just his wealth or bold vision that impressed her. It was his integrity, his belief in fairness, and his ability to inspire loyalty in those around him. Xingwang was busy overseeing the renovation of his $300 million villa. Workers moved about, some demolishing walls, others carrying supplies, and Xingwang directed them with confidence. Leave the cement and bricks outside the courtyard. Be careful when demolishing the walls. Don't damage the load-bearing ones. Behind him, a butler from the neighboring villa appeared, holding a gift in his hands. The butler's attire was clean and luxurious, exuding the refinement of someone from a wealthy family. Xingwang noticed him, turned, and thought to himself, this truly looks like a butler from a wealthy family, dignified and refined, just like the ones in TV dramas. Stroking his chin, he mused, I should get a butler someday too. The butler, with a respectful posture and a gentle smile, stepped forward and presented the gift. I heard there are new neighbors, so I came to visit. I didn't bring much, just some products from our company. I hope you don't mind, he said politely. Xingwang approached, removed his gloves and said, I must apologize. The house is under renovation and quite messy. I'm all dirty, so I must look quite amusing. The butler maintained his smile and replied, I should apologize for coming unannounced and causing you trouble. I thought, since we're neighbors and will interact often, I'd visit in advance. Holding out the gift, he added, so we can help each other out in the future. Xingwang accepted the gift, noting its substantial weight and intricate gold and silver decorations. He thought to himself, this neighborhood of wealthy residents is truly different. Even the butlers are so polite and courteous. He thoroughly inspected the luxurious gift box, feeling a growing curiosity about his affluent surroundings and the connections he might form here. The butler and Xingwang exchanged a firm handshake. Xingwang said with a smile, You are too kind. Helping neighbors is only natural. Once I'm done with the work here, I will definitely come by to visit you. Later that afternoon, Xingwang was at his villa, walking around and supervising the ongoing renovation. Exhausted, he sat on the ground, wiped the sweat from his forehead, and thought to himself, I've been working for quite a while without realizing it. I should take a break. Just then his phone rang. Picking it up, he heard a familiar voice. Xingwang, our class is having a reunion this weekend. Are you free? I heard that girl you had a crush on in university will be there too. Xingwang's mood shifted instantly. His eyes narrowed in anger as he thought, Class reunions are just ego contests where people compare themselves. Back in college, I was the poorest in my class, always mocked and treated as a nobody. Just a small operator, always invited to reunions as background decoration. But then his expression softened into a confident smile. He replied, "Sure." The person on the other end was taken aback. He agreed so quickly? It must be because she's coming, they thought. Meanwhile, in the neighboring villa, Ping Zhao Zhao stood near a window while the butler from earlier recounted his visit. "He's very gentle and polite," the butler said. "He even removed his dirty gloves and wiped his hands before taking the gift box. He seems like a good person, working alongside the renovation crew and getting along well with them." Ping Zhao Zhao, without turning around, replied, "I understand." Suddenly the doorbell rang. Ping Zhao Zhao turned sharply, startled. "It must be him again," she said in irritation. But instead of Xingwang, a confident couple walked in, holding each other close. Ping Zhao Zhao frowned as they approached. "I've told you so many times not to bring people here," she said coldly. The man smirked and addressed her. "Ping Zhao Zhao, what kind of attitude is that? This is your future sister-in-law. I've had my fun, and now I'm ready to settle down. I plan to marry Shishi." Shishi, the girl by his side, looked slightly teary and said softly, "Miss Ping, do you have some misunderstanding about me?" Ping Zhao Zhao turned her head away without a word and walked off. Shishi, worried, held the man's hand. "Should I leave? Miss Ping doesn't seem happy to see me and I don't want to affect your relationship with her." The man placed a confident hand on her shoulder. "Don't mind her. She's just being dramatic and fussy." Ping Zhao Zhao, now visibly angry from a distance, overheard his comment. The man turned to her and said with a smirk, "Don't forget what grandfather said. To inherit the family fortune, you need to get married. Could it be that you're jealous of me?" Ping Zhao Zhao responded with a calm but sharp smile. "Jealous? Far from it. I'm not desperate to get married for inheritance like you. Besides, do you think just anyone can enter the Ping family? Marriages depend on whether grandfather approves or not." Her words left the room tense. Thank you for watching till now. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like it. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button now. Let's meet again in the next video.